Most people probably wouldn't know what to do, but us 80 kids know exactly where to turn when we're bothered by a spook, ghost, or specter. Who you gonna call? They are the supreme team to rid us of any unwanted supernatural phenomenon or things that go bump in the night. They showed us across 3 feature films, an animated series, and a pretty rad video game that worked as a third film until the actual third film became a reality. But there are eager fans who are keen on settling a decades-long debate which Ghostbusters film is superior, the original or the sequel. In the past, the second outing for the gang seemed to spur negative reaction, while the first one is held in the highest regards. But is the sequel really an inferior movie, though? There's only one way to find out, so fire up your proton pack and do not cross those streams as we show these films how we do things downtown. Face Off!
No actual science was used to determine the outcome of Face Off. Your results may vary. Please do not consume Face Off if you are allergic to conjecture, opinion, or general nonsense.
We'd like to thank you for watching Face Off. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and click on the bell so you can be notified each time a new video goes live. Now back to the show. Round 1, Gadgets. One of the main attractions to the original Ghostbusters is all the fun gadgets the guys use for, well, busting ghosts. Just about every kid threw on a backpack and used a stick of some sort to act like they had a proton pack. The proton packs were the coolest. A nuclear reactor on your back to shoot out positively charged particles to trap ghosts. Yeah, that shit's going on my Christmas list. This, of course, leads to the ghost trap, which pulls a ghost down into the device and keeps it there until it can be unloaded into the containment unit. And you'll never find these ghosts without the PKE meter, which measures psychokinetic energy. You're gonna need it if you want to track down any of these slippery ghosts. You'll also want to keep a pair of ecto goggles handy to spot any ghosts that are invisible to the naked eye. It's clear that the first film had boundless ideas as it introduced all of these electrifying gadgets to the Ghostbusters franchise. In part 2, these same gadgets return, but the proton packs were noticeably slimmed down to make them easier to carry. The functions remain the same, however, it still packs quite the punch. The only real new gadget we get is the slime cannon. After finding the negatively charged slime flowing under New York City, the guys decide to use positively charged slime to their advantage. While its use is really ever only implemented in one scene, which we'll get to, we do see a few people get sprayed down with the happy slime, including Ray himself when he gets taken over by Vigo. It never really does much else in the film and creates a giant mess. Because of this, the winner has to be verdict, Ghostbusters. Round 2, Ghosts. You can't have Ghostbusters without ghosts. The first film created some of the best special effects that have been done up to that point. The Slimer ghost has been carved into movie history as a favorite among fans. They were even disappointed that he didn't show up in the 2021 film. No one wants to settle for Muncher.
Nobody likes you.
Upon rewatch, some of the ghosts in the background look amazing for as little screen time as they have. When all the spirits are unleashed upon New York, we see a montage of them wreaking havoc. And the zombie taxi driver is a fun utilization of full practical effects rather than optical. And we'd be remiss not to mention the one that kicked it all off, the monstrous librarian ghost who set the tone for the entire franchise. In the sequel, the filmmakers had a higher budget, so they were able to create even crazier spirits. While in the middle of a trial, the Scoleri brothers let loose upon the unsuspecting crowd. The look of the ghosts is more cartoonish than the ghosts seen in the previous films, but this could be due to the popularity of the real Ghostbusters cartoon. We're also treated to some cool shit like a ghost train that runs straight through Winston while they're underground searching for the source of the angry slime. Other memorable visuals include the jogging ghost in Central Park, some possessed minks after the owner steps in some angry slime, and the famed Titanic docks in New York with all of its dead passengers.
Better late than never.
Due to the angry slime being responsible for these imaginative bits and fun scenes, we have to hand this round to verdict, Ghostbusters 2. Round 3, Jerks. Every comedic ghost movie needs a low-level jerk to try to ruin all the ghostbustin'. The original film has one of the most despised dicks in all of cinema, Walter Peck.
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Peck is played expertly by William Atherton, who could go on to play other jerks in films such as Die Hard, Real Genius, and who could forget the award-winning Biodome.
Don't say we didn't save some freaking trees!
As an inspector for the EPA, an organization you usually want to root for, he causes all sorts of trouble for the team. He's concerned about the environmental impact that the containment unit and the rest of their ghost equipment could have.
Hey, please. See the storage facility, Mr. Pick.
Later, he returns with a court order to shut down their entire operation, and in doing so, he releases every single captured ghost back into New York. He claims that the Ghostbusters are using some sort of gas to trigger hallucinations, which is what people are really seeing instead of ghosts. Luckily, the mayor has a change of heart and takes the Ghostbusters' side, allowing them to do their thing.
We got work to do. Now, what do you need from me?
And stop the apocalypse the only way they know how, by busting ghosts. Even after the Ghostbusters saved the city from total destruction, some people are still unconvinced jerks about the paranormal. Enter the mayor's assistant, Jack Hardmire. He doesn't believe anything the guys tell him and thinks they're completely making it up. When the mayor turns down their idea to tell everyone to be nice to each other to neutralize the angry slime, Hardmire says he would love them to tell some people downtown about all of this. Of course, this is a dirty trick to get the group committed to an asylum. Hardmire is played by another famous jerk, Kurt Fuller. Fuller has been a jerk in numerous films like the classic Wayne's World. But unfortunately, there's no beating the king of all jerks, Walter Peck. Verdict, Ghostbusters. Round 4, Vehicles. In the 80s, it was all about a cool vehicle. The DeLorean, KITT, the Batmobile, you get the picture. You needed a cool car to stand out. Ghostbusters is no different. We're presented with the Ecto-1, an old ambulance/hearse combo that has been fitted with all sorts of bells and whistles to support the Ghostbusters. The Ecto-1 is accompanied by its signature blue flashing lights and mildly annoying but highly recognizable siren. Splashed on each side is the Ghostbusters logo to let you know exactly what you're in for. While it might not be as slick and as cool as other famous cars, this one is still easy to pick out of a lineup. The fact that the early trailers for Ghostbusters Afterlife focused on the Ecto-1 to drum up buzz among fans who are excited by the nostalgia shows just how iconic this vehicle is. For the sequel, well, the Ecto-1 returns, although this time sporting the logo for Ghostbusters II on the side. Not sure why they would use that logo in the actual film. Is it supposed to mean the ghost is giving a peace sign? Wouldn't that be sending conflicting messages if they were busting peaceful ghosts? Or signaling that this is the second time that they're attempting the business? It's a little muddy, but ultimately not important. The other vehicle in the film is none other than the Statue of Liberty. When the city needs a symbol of hope, the group spray her down with a ton of positively charged slime, hook up a Nintendo joystick controller, and take Lady Liberty out for a nice evening stroll. You know, I wonder how the hell they got her back to Liberty Island afterward. For real though, how can you beat Ecto-1 and the Statue of Liberty? The simple answer? You can't. Verdict? Ghostbusters 2. Round 5, Big Bad. The Ghostbusters series always needs a big-time villain to send our heroes to face, and both films had some doozies. In the original, we are introduced to Gozer the Destructor. The big baddie asks the guys if they are gods, and Ray stupidly says,
No.
God damn it, Ray, you always say yes, always.
Say yes!
Gozer's master plan is to come to the earthly plane to bring about its destruction. Obviously, the Ghostbusters are going to have something to say about this, and when they confront Gozer, they ask them to choose the form of their destruction and shows up as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Thanks again, Ray. After they melt that form of Gozer, they decide the only way to reverse the energy and rid the world of Gozer is by crossing the streams. Fortunately, it works, and the world is safe from Gozer for now. In the follow-up, we get Vigo the Carpathian. He's an evil ruler and sorcerer from the 16th century. When he was executed by being poisoned, shot, stabbed, hung, stretched, disemboweled, drawn, and quartered, it was said that before his head died, he claimed that he would one day return to rule.
On a mountain of skulls in the castle of pain, I sat on a throne of blood.
Cut to the film, and now he wants to possess Dana's baby, Oscar. He feeds off the negative energy produced by the city and channels it to finally regain a physical form, but before he can possess Oscar, the crew stops him and destroys him, once and for all. While Vigo's ugly portrait is certainly hard to look at, can you really beat Gozer? There's a reason that they showed up again in Afterlife, and not Vigo's big-ass forehead. Verdict? Ghostbusters. Round 6, cool moments. In the first film, we're given the amusing sequence at the Cedric Hotel. It doesn't have a lot of action, but it does feature them searching for Slimer and showcases the very first use of their famous proton packs. A lot of destruction ensues as a cleaning lady cart and banquet hall are set ablaze. Later on, there's a frightening scene where Dana is possessed by Zool as she fights back against the hands that burst out of her chair before she's dragged into the kitchen. Freaked me the hell out as a kid. Another wild, great scene is when Lewis is chased by the terror dog. Rick Moranis is perfect as Lewis Tully. His delivery when he asks,
Okay, who brought the dog?
is impeccable. He runs for his life, but finally succumbs to the terror dog. The reaction of the dinner patrons is priceless as they just go back to their meals without another thought. Sorry, Tully. And of course, the final showdown with Gozer and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is pure 80s cinema. Melting marshmallow flying everywhere is a ton of gooey fun, and witnessing Walter Peck finally get his comeuppance is a thing of glory. The sequel has its own fair share of cool moments, including the fantastic courtroom sequence where the Scoleri brothers trashed the place. The event brings the team back into full ghostbustin mode, and seeing everyone else thrown around the courtroom is a riot. Another sight to behold is when the team descend into the sewer system and discover the river of slime. The negative energy flowing right through the heart of the city is unnerving and explains a lot about the New York of the Ghostbusters universe. Winston meeting the business end of a ghost train is a terrific comedic moment with a great punchline when Egon asks him if he caught the name of the train. Later on, the Ghostbusters try to find a way to unite the city and break through the negative energy which has surrounded the museum. They concoct a surprisingly heartfelt plan as they use one of the biggest symbols of hope in the world to unite New York. Plus, seeing a mobile Statue of Liberty walking through the city is pretty dope. Then we come to the climatic showdown between Vigo and the Ghostbusters. He tries to keep them at bay so he can possess baby Oscar, but leave it to Bill Murray's sense of humor to save the day.
Only a Carpathian would come back to life now and choose New York.
Venkman distracts Vigo long enough for the crowd outside to come together with positive energy. Yay! The guys are then able to send Vigo back where he belongs and destroy him for good. While all these scenes from the sequel are noteworthy, none are as instantly classic as Verdict: Ghostbusters. At the end of the day, Ghostbusters 2 does have a lot to like about it, but the fact is, without the awesomeness of the first film, there would be no part 2. Moments from the 1984 film have been burned into the pop culture landscape since it initially premiered. The dry comedy and top-notch visual effects would become a go-to for future films through the rest of the decade and have legions of fans clamoring for more. While the sequel does expand on the Ghostbusters mythos, it just didn't deliver the goods in a wholly satisfying way like the first film did. It would take a long time for the team to reassemble, but when they finally did, all the nostalgia and references went back to the films that fans loved the most, the original. It should be obvious, but in fans' hearts everywhere, they know who to call. Winner! Ghostbusters! But don't let us have the final word. Tell us in the comments which is your pick, Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2. And as always, thanks for watching.
Greek?
Mexican?
Pizza.
Dinner thing.
Chicago.